Good morning. Let us begin at once, and let us begin with a sentence that some will call dangerous. It is dangerous, but not to you. It is dangerous only to fear's claim upon your identity. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. You must take that now, not as a pretty verse to embroider on a cushion, but as a password spoken at the inner gate. And fear cannot pass that gate. If from this moment you and I accept that liberty is not in the changing of conditions, not in the rearrangement of bodies, dollars, or headlines, but in the realized presence, then every so-called danger turns back upon itself and dissolves, because there is no entrance for the unreal where spirit is felt. The light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Now you must understand this. It is 100% truth that we have no concern today with the name or nature of your problem, your fear, or your hope. Do not tell me its label. Do not even rehearse to yourself its diagnosis. We are not going to try to do anything to it. All we are going to do is bring to bear the realization of God's presence. One demonstration only. From this day forward, you have one demonstration to make. To know within yourself, to feel within yourself, to rest within yourself in the awareness God is here. God is the life of this moment. God is the breath of my being. And when that is the atmosphere, liberty is found there, because liberty is native to God. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Not as the world offers a truce after a battle. Not as the world offers a pill for a pain. No, peace as presence, peace as being. There will be those who say, but this is reckless. This is dangerous. Shouldn't we keep a firmer hold on our affairs, on our bodies? And I say to you, this is dangerous only to the hypnosis that tells you you are the body you protect. This is dangerous to that voice in the garden that whispers, who told thee that thou wast naked? And then quickly tries to sell you fig leaves. The danger is to the suggestion that you are a bundle of nerves and measurements. The danger is to the false identification. And to that, let there be danger. Let there be the sharp sword of spirit that parts truth from suggestion. Because the moment you shift the sense of self, even by a fraction, from body to presence, fear cannot find you to grip you. It has lost your address. Let me be plain, and let me be somewhat severe, because love must be honest. When you say, I'm not trying to get well, you have to mean it. Do you hear? Not the polite metaphysical chatter that says, oh, I want God, but please bring him by Friday and kindly fix this ache while you're at it. No. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. If you live by every word, your life source is not the evidence of sense, but the word unveiled within. And then, sometimes strangely to the senses, healings occur, supply appears, doors open, but we have not made those our project. We have not prayed for the shadow to change. We have turned to the light. The only demonstration is presence. So from the very outset, let me frame our journey and take away the sidetracks. This is not a course in symptom chasing. This is not a clinic. This is an altar. Our work is to cease guarding a body as ourself and to discover the I that is invisible. Be still and know that I am God. In that stillness, you will begin to recognize the difference between the garment and the wearer, between the temple and the inhabitant. You will find yourself saying, not as a trick, but as a recognition. This is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. And in that invisibility, in that realized I, that is spirit, fear cannot breathe. It has no oxygen there. Make of this refrain your password, silently, gently, sincerely. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Whisper it when the mail arrives and there is a bill in it. Whisper it when the body makes a noise in the night. Whisper it when a headline shouts apocalypse. But do not use it as a charm or as a hammer. Use it as a key. Then turn the key by being still long enough to let the atmosphere change within you. When the atmosphere changes, the shadow world conforms because, as I shall tell you again and again, all of this is a matter of consciousness. You are not changing things. You are awakening to that which is. The evidence follows as a shadow follows a traveler at noon. Now, because I know our human hearts, let us be candid. You will be tempted to bargain. We all are. You will attempt to say, yes, yes, God first, while your fingers remain crossed behind your back, hoping the pain lifts. The test reads negative. The account turns black. Do not condemn yourself for that. But do not be fooled by it either. Face it. Bring it into the light and say, Father, even if none of that changes, still I desire thy presence. Thy grace is sufficient for me. And mean it as best you can. Each time you do, a thread of fear breaks, a cord snaps, and the invisible eye takes one more step out of obscurity into conscious dominion. So, good morning. And it is a good morning because grace is here. We are beginning a way of life that will seem to some to be risky. To us, it is rest. We shall attend to what needs attending in the world, but we will not draw our breath from it. We will be in it, but not of it. We will hold fast to the password, not to bully the world, but to open the heart. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. There is a presence in the midst of you, mighty to save, yet never striving. Yield to it. Let it announce itself as peace. Then watch how fear, lacking a passport in this country of spirit, must turn back at the border and disappear into the nothingness from which it came. And we, meanwhile, live not by bread alone, but by the word, not in bondage to the body, but in the joy of the invisible eye. Now let us look right at the place where this whole tangle begins, because if we see the genesis of it, we will not be taken in by its parade. Hypnotism begins when fear names the body me. That is the first spell. The world around us, good people, educated people, headlines and specialists and advertisers, has for centuries now whispered and shouted and printed and measured until the average man and woman wakes in the morning and takes inventory of a body as if taking inventory of a self. And then, because the inventory includes sensations and numbers and images lit up in blue light on a screen, fear enters and says, guard this, for this is you. That, right there, is mesmerism. Who told thee that thou wast naked? Who told you that your scan, your lab value, your mirror is yourself? Who assigned to those instruments authority over the eye that is invisible? Do not misunderstand me. We are not going to live with our heads in the sand. We will be in it, but not of it. We will take whatever orderly steps wisdom indicates without ever bowing to the suggestion that those steps confer life or identity. In him we live and move and have our being. If that is true, and it is, then every fear that arises upon the premise I am a body has risen upon a false floor. It is like 2 times 2 equals 5. It can be written, it can be repeated, it can be printed on the front page, but it can never be law. It is a statement without a statute behind it. Fear of body is a naming error, and because it is an error in naming, it has no law to enforce itself. It bluffs. It blusters. It thrums the drum in the night, but it cannot legislate where spirit is realized. Now, watch the process as it often happens, because if you see its steps, you can interrupt them. The phone pings at midnight with a news alert. The mind runs, uninvited, down a corridor lined with headlines. The body makes a sound, a twinge somewhere. The mind slaps a label upon the twinge and calls it me in danger. And in that instant, the atmosphere shifts from presence to panic. What has occurred? Not a change in God, not a shift in the one life that is the same yesterday and today and forever. Only this, the naming. You, a spiritual being, accepted a label upon the garment and then hugged the garment as the wearer. This is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. If you can remember that one sentence in the minute of temptation, and not as a trick, but as a return to sanity, you will feel the atmosphere begin to return to you. Fear will look for its address and not find it. You see, the world has been beautifully efficient in training us. There were the posters in the wars, the moving pictures with frames inserted so swiftly the eye could not protest, the jingles that tied identity to a car, to a figure, to a bank balance. Today, the same efficiency has smarter tools. The app that counts your steps tells you what sort of day you have had. The mirror in the gym reflects not muscle but worth. The graph on the screen declares your future. Do not be angry with it. Do not be naive about it. Call it by its right name, mass hypnotism, the collective suggestion that the visible is the self and the invisible is fantasy. The Christ says otherwise. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is the refusal to grant to appearance the name I. Righteous judgment is the quiet insistence that thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. And above is not a ceiling in a clinic. Above is the realm of spirit. Now, in facing health anxiety, and I know it, I have sat with it at bedsides and by telephones through the night. Remember this one thing. The intensity of fear is not proof of the presence of power. It is proof that the mesmeric argument is pressed down hard. It is the volume knob, not legality. You do not argue with volume. You do not battle the symptom. We are not going to try to do anything to it. All we are going to do is unmask the pretense that there is a law behind it. There is no spiritual statute that decrees, thou art a body, and thy peace dependeth upon its measurements. There is instead the ever-present word. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Bread represents the material measures, the visible supports. The word is the realized presence. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, not from sensation alone, but from the very premise that sensation defines you. Think of the horizon analogy that our school books once used to unteach fear. Men thought the earth ended where the eye saw it end, and so they did not sail. Then one man sailed. The horizon remained a horizon, but it lost its law. The edge did not become friendly. It was never an edge. It was a suggestion accepted as law. So with bodies, so with scans, so with data. They remain appearances to be used, stewarded, sometimes repaired, but never enthroned. We will not smash the thermometer for reading a number. We will simply refuse to call the number I. We will return again and again to the atmosphere of God, and the atmosphere will reveal the lawlessness of the threat. Scripture gives you language for this refusal. Call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. Identity is not derived from flesh, nor therefore bound by flesh. Ye are the temple of the living God. The temple is not the God, it is the housing. If a stone is chipped, the God is not. If a friend admires the columns, the God is not enlarged. So too with our bodies. Admiration does not add life. Anxiety does not subtract it. Life is God. Let that be your inner alignment, and you will feel what I mean by a different atmosphere. And that is where we are headed now. We are not launching a campaign against symptoms. We are not going to hire out our piece to the next lab result. We are going to witness a different atmosphere of life until the hypnotic naming error loses its plausibility. Sit with me in this determination. The next time fear comes naming the body me, we will answer without strain. Who said so? We will turn, immediately if we can, gently if we must, to that password that is not a charm but a key. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, and we will be still long enough to feel the air change. When the air changes, the spell breaks. The world will go on counting and shouting, and we, in it but not of it, will walk quietly, invisibly, as the eye that God is living. Perfect love casteth out fear, not a perfect argument, a perfect atmosphere. Let us then enter it. In 1928, something happened that I did not plan and that I could not have arranged if you had given me a list of all the resolutions in the world. I still lived, but not in the same atmosphere. I can say with Paul, and I say it not as a text to decorate a Sunday, but as a fact of breath and being, I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. How? Why? Not because I sat down and drew up a program to become a better man, not because I swore off pleasures, not because I discovered a superior moral code. All of the outer shifts that followed were brought about by one change, only a change of consciousness. The air had changed. The light in the room was not the same light. The appetites that had been natural in one atmosphere were not natural in another. And the strangest part is I could not make a project of changing them. You must understand what my life was, so you do not credit my story to virtue. I enjoyed my cocktails, my bridge, my evenings out, the chatter that makes up good society. Not wickedness, oh no, just the ordinary stream of respectable amusement. I liked the theater. I liked the banter with friends. I liked the visible evidences that one is alive and fitting in. Then, without effort, without a pledge, without the slightest strain, the taste drained out of those things as if a hand invisible had turned a valve. A cocktail lifted was just a liquid. The play was a set of lines crossing a stage. Bridge was, well, cards and calculation. The color bled out of the canvas. I was not pushing them away. They were slipping from me because I was breathing different air. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. That verse did not come to me as poetry. It came as a plain description. Now this, to me, was the first proof that transformation is not a rearrangement of furniture, but a change of atmosphere. You can, if you wish, tidy the room of your life with rules and reforms. Remove this, add that, paint a wall. But when the air changes, the whole house breathes differently, and you find that the things which belong to stale air simply do not belong to you. I did not become superior to anyone. I did not become stricter. I became uninterested, and I repeat for your heart, because this is the good news. It is easier to live uninterested than to live disciplined. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, not by the tightening of your fist. I discovered I had meat to eat that I knew not of. And once that inner food was on the table, the craving for appetizers died of neglect. Of course there was a cost, and I want you to know it so that you are not surprised by your own. Friends could not follow me into that air. They said, "What is wrong with you? Have you become pious?" Some thought I was judging them. Family too. Oh, the conversations at dinner were not always sweet. Invitations slowed. Laughter sometimes had an edge. I tried to explain and discovered to my grief that explanation cannot ferry a man across an atmosphere. They could not follow me in there. Neither could I go back. Do you see the double truth of that? If you are honest, there is a kindness in not forcing yourself back into a room where your lungs no longer expand. It is not rebellion. It is physics of the soul. No man putteth new wine into old bottles, not because the bottle is evil, but because the living ferment will burst what cannot stretch. Do not mistake this for asceticism. I still went out. I sat with friends. I was in it, but not of it. The difference, the center had shifted. Man shall not live by bread alone. And I had discovered a word proceeding within that satisfied not my mouth, but my being. It was an atmosphere, not a rule. I could sit in a room where toasts were raised, and my heart would lift its own quiet cup to an unseen presence. I could watch the cards shuffled and sense a rhythm of life, uninterested in winning tricks. I was not scorning. I was simply elsewhere while present. And because the atmosphere was different, some old companions drifted, and a few dear souls were drawn to ask, "What is it you're breathing?" To those few, I could say with a straight face, "Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty." And we would sit without trying to fix each other. Now, bring this forward to the problem that perhaps presses you. Fear of the body, fear of the report, fear of the tomorrow you imagine. If consciousness could so reorder the lightness of my evenings without any effort, why do you suppose that it cannot, by the same law, reorder the grip that fear claims upon your flesh? If an appetite for a cocktail can die because a subtler joy is tasted, can not the appetite for scanning the body for danger die because a subtler safety is felt? We are not going to try to do anything to the fear, or to the symptom, or to the screen. We are going to witness an atmosphere, the same atmosphere, until the old reflex cannot breathe in it. When the air in you is the presence of God, fear has no oxygen. Perfect love casteth out fear. Not a perfect argument, a perfect atmosphere. Let me be very clear, because our human nature loves to bargain. I did not bargain for a new life by sacrificing amusements. I stumbled into a presence that made the sacrifice unnecessary. So in this matter of health, Do not attempt to fast from worry as a feat. Seek the presence. When you say, I am not trying to get well, you will, at first, not mean it. I did not mean it when I said to myself, I am not trying to become spiritual. But as the atmosphere ripens, as the word takes on weight, you will find you do mean it, and the fear will find its hooks dulled. You will, in a midnight moment, hear yourself say, without drama, this is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. And feel the temperature in the room change. That is consciousness, reconfiguring your life without struggle. In 1928, I still lived, yet not I. I still paid bills, answered telephones, met obligations. Nothing outward demanded I wear a robe or ring a bell. But everything inward was illumined, and therefore everything outward rearranged itself around a new gravity. Some friendships left gently, some doors opened that, to this day, I cannot explain. Opportunities appeared where there had been none, not because I pushed, but because a light draws moths without advertisement. They couldn't follow me in there and I couldn't go back, and between those two poles a path opened that even my feet did not know. That is the nature of a change of consciousness. It is quiet and it is irreversible. So take this as a sober, happy promise. If a change of air could remove the sweet teeth of my former pleasures, it can, by the same law, remove the sharp teeth of your fear. The work is not in the teeth. The work is in the air. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth, not as a denial of earth, but as a transfer of emphasis. Attend to the atmosphere of God until, without trying, the shadows of anxiety thin and blow away. You will discover, as I did, that you still live. You answer the same doorbell. You turn the same key in the lock, yet not you, because another eye has come to the front, the invisible eye. And where that eye is realized, there is liberty. Now, if we are to be honest craftsmen of spirit and not dabblers, we must settle this once for all. You have no demonstration to make from this hour onward except one, the realization of the presence of God. Do not add to it. Do not decorate it. Do not smuggle back in a second aim, wearing a spiritual hat. One demonstration only. We are not going to try to do anything to it, to the symptom, to the bill, to the mood, to the headline. We are going to bring to bear, as quietly and surely as dawn brings light, the awareness God is here. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty does not arrive as an achievement trophy for our effort. Liberty appears because liberty is native to spirit. And when spirit is realized, it is itself. Be still and know that I am God. Not know that I am a fixer of conditions. Know that I am God, and God being God is the atmosphere in which the false can find no oxygen. This, if you will allow me to be severe with love, requires that you recalibrate your concern. Do not let your concern be for health. Do not let your concern be for supply. Do not let your concern be for what the world can give or withhold. Let your concern be this and this alone, that you feel, however faintly at first, that surging of the Spirit within you, that change of air, that inner hush by which you know, my peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. When that is your one concern, you will discover something almost scandalous to the practical mind. Issues begin to shift without being your project. The shadow moves because you have turned to the light, and the light does not aim at the shadow. It is simply itself. Now I know the reflex. I have it, you have it, the fixing reflex. The body hints, we reach. The bank blinks, we calculate. The news flashes, we scroll, and we call it responsibility. No, responsibility in our work is first to presence. You can be in it, but not of it. You can take the pill, make the call, read the report, but not as a beggar of outcomes. You do not reach for the arm of flesh until you have first rested in the arm of spirit. And if you rest there, you may find the outer act is guided differently or not required at all. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added, not chased. Added, not purchased at the cost of peace. So here is the practice standard. Very plain, very firm. Before any decision, before any treatment, before any search query in the little box that promises omniscience, stop. Sit if you can. Stand if you must. Turn inward just enough to whisper the password. Not magically, but faithfully. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And wait for the air to change. If it takes a minute, fine. If it takes 10, better to give 10 to God than 10,000 to fear. Do not move from that inner place until at least a thread of quiet has appeared. Then, only then, act or do not act as that quiet indicates. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed, not visited. Stayed long enough that the fixing reflex has lost its authority. You may say, but what if it is urgent? The most urgent thing in any moment is presence. There is nothing more practical than God, because God is reality. You do not, in a storm, argue with the wind. You take shelter. Presence is the shelter. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. To dwell, even for a minute, is to enter an atmosphere hostile to fear and hospitable to wisdom. In that atmosphere, the next thing to do, if there is a next thing, reveals itself with an ease that is not indifference but assurance. Understand this also. Presence is not a technique for getting results. If you make presence your tool for a desired outcome, you have reversed means and end, and you will feel the old panic creeping back, because fear smells bargaining. You must be able to say, sick or well, rich or poor, today or tomorrow, Father, thy presence is my good. If no symptom lifts, still thy presence is enough. If every bill remains, still thy presence is my sufficiency. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Bread is the world's evidence. The word is the felt presence. Live by the word, and the bread finds its order without your servitude to it. Do not be fooled by the mind's little courtroom, where it says, yes, yes, God first, while it keeps glancing at the clock in the lab report. You will know you have left that courtroom when the clock and the report no longer rule the climate of your being. You will still read them, perhaps. You will still take sane steps, but your climate will be different. The atmosphere of God dissolves the appearance of bondage by being itself. Just as 2 times 2 equals 5 needs no wrestling match to be corrected, it yields the instant truth as present, so the fears that have paraded as law begin to yield, sometimes visibly, sometimes only as a loss of sting. Either way, liberty is there because spirit is there. So, do not let your concern be to change a thing. Let your concern be to enter this secret place. to feel that inner lift, however slight. Then move from there. If you fail a dozen times before breakfast, begin again at lunch. This is how we make the one demonstration only, not by heroics, not by will, but by fidelity to presence. And in that fidelity, you will find yourself saying, without effort and without surprise, "The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want." Not want for outcomes, but not want for God. And having God, you will find yourself free, in it but not of it, walking with a quiet that no appearance can command and no appearance can dispel. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Let that be the whole of our work. The rest is added. Now we come to the sentence that if you will let it root itself in you, changes the whole climate of your living. This is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. Take it slowly. Do not make it a slogan. Let it be an unveiling. The I that lives is consciousness. The I that knows, beholds, discerns, loves, and is loved. This I is not a picture, not a weight, not a measure. It is the beholder, not the beheld. Whoever saw his own seeing, whoever looked upon the light by which he looked, in him we live and move and have our being. If that is so, then the real I is as invisible as the spirit in whom it lives. The eyes report the landscape. The fingers report texture. The nerves report weather passing through the instrument. But none of that is you. You are the awareness in which these reports arrive and depart. The silent witness before whom the pageant of sense comes and goes. Now, make this practical. A sensation speaks. A tightness here, a flutter there, a number on a device, a mirror story. In the old mesmerism, the mind jumps and cries, "I am in danger." In the new atmosphere, the true atmosphere, you pause and return to identity. You say not to bully yourself, not to shame yourself, but to wake yourself. This is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. You take your seat as the witness, not the character. And from that seat, which is presence, you listen. You may care for the instrument as wisdom leads. You may rest it, wash it, feed it, mend it, tune it, but you will not worship it. And you will not let it dictate your worth or your peace. You are the music, not the violin. The violin is precious because it conveys the music, but the music is not wood and string. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Bread is the instrument, the word is the music. The life is not in the loaf, nor in the calorie, nor in the molecule. The life is in God, as living presence felt within. Let me press this a little further, because it will save you nights of wrestling. The invisible I is not a ghostly abstraction. It is the very place where the Spirit of the Lord is. There is liberty, proves itself. You will not find liberty in a better mirror, in a calmer pulse alone, in a cleverer formula. You find liberty by relocating your center. The moment you take your seat in the invisible I, fear loses its jurisdiction because it cannot summon you into its court. It has papers only for the persona that confuses itself with flesh. Stand as the I that beholds, and the summons is undeliverable. Thou couldst have no power at all against me except it were given thee from above. And above is not up there beyond the clouds. Above is the dimension of spirit within you, the infinite within which your true I is hid. Your life is hid with Christ and God. Hidden is not absent. Hidden is secure, untouched by the fingers of appearance. Some will ask, but doesn't this make me careless of the body? No, it makes you faithful and free. The pianist does not ignore the piano. He keeps it in tune because he loves the music. He does not panic when a key sticks. He attends to it, but the concert is not over because a key clicks. The life in you is not at the mercy of a click. You may go to a workshop. You may call a tuner. You may even rest the piece for a day. But you do not sell the music to the problem. You do not hand your piece to a symptom as its property. The life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment. So too, the eye is more than sensation, and the body is more than scenery. It is an instrument. Treat it with the dignity of an instrument, not the idolatry of a god. Practice this stance gently in the very moments that once swept you away. The screen lights with a number. Before the old fear can fasten its story, breathe not as a technique, but as a remembrance, and say within, I. No adjectives, just I. Then let the sentence rise if it will. This is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. Feel the shift from surface to center. Then, quietly, the password, not as a charm, but as a recognition. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. You are not summoning the Spirit. The Spirit is summoning you into your true address. There, in the invisible, liberty is native. There, fear cannot locate you because the map it uses is made of flesh labels and you have ceased to answer to them. Do not let your concern be for health. Do not let your concern be for years, for appearances, for a perfect performance on any test of sense. Let your concern be that 3 times a day at least, and in the sudden minute of need, you turn and feel that surging of the Spirit within you, sometimes slight, sometimes unmistakable, and, I. If you must walk to a clinic, walk as I. If you must sign a form, sign as I. If you must lie down and rest, rest as I, in it but not of it. You will discover, often to your surprise, that the very same outer acts done from I are free of the torment that marked them when done from persona. The act remains, the bondage does not. And if, in the night, the old voice whispers, but what if? What if? Answer it once and be finished. Who said that thou wast naked? Then be still and let the atmosphere announce itself. Not your atmosphere, his. Not your peace negotiated, his peace bestowed. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. From that peace you will find the wisdom to care for the instrument without yielding the throne. From that peace you will know yourself again as the unseen life that animates, beholds, and remains quiet, fearless, present. The eye that lives is unseen. When you stand there, fear cannot find you to grip you. And you, without trumpet and without strain, walk on liberty your air, presence your name. Now we must come to a place that few of us like to visit because it removes our last excuse. It is the place of integrity. We say, I want God. And we say it beautifully. But under the table, the fingers are crossed and the contract reads, provided I get well, provided this improves, provided that burden lifts. Do not be shocked by yourself. I have sat in that same chair. In the beginning, we all come to this work as beggars at the temple gate. We say we seek Christhood, but if you look beneath the language, What we seek is relief on our terms. And when I say, from this day forward, you have one demonstration, only the realization of the presence of God, you nod. When I add, therefore, say, I am not trying to get well, you nod faster. And if I then ask, do you mean it? Will you mean it when the number on the screen is higher? When the pain is louder? When the report is darker? The room goes very quiet. That quiet is where integrity is either born or postponed. Hear this without defensiveness. When you say, I'm not trying to get well, you have to mean it. You have to mean it the way a man means it when he lays down his sword and says, I will not fight for this anymore. You have to mean it the way the disciples heard, leave your nets, and did not hide a little net under the cloak for later. Sick or well, rich or poor, today or tomorrow, liked or disliked, the object of life is spiritual awareness. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Not traded, not bartered for, added. If your heart still whispers, yes, yes, the kingdom, but quickly, Lord, quickly, and please in this particular shape you are bargaining, and bargaining is fear dressed in Sunday clothes. Integrity is the end of bargaining. Integrity says, Father, thy presence is my good. If nothing else changes, thy presence is still enough. I know. You can say those words today and not mean them tomorrow. So let us put a spine in them. Make a covenant, simple and binding, and keep it when the wind changes. Morning and night, and at any moment of disturbance, say within, Father, into thy hands I commit this day, this body, this income, this reputation. I place outcomes out of my hand. Thy presence is my sufficiency. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And then, when the wobble comes, and it will keep the pledge, do not rip it up for the sake of a spike on a chart. Do not run to the arm of flesh without first sitting still in the arm of spirit. You can be in it, but not of it. You may call the office, you may take the remedy, but do it as a free man, not as a petitioner terrified of being refused. The covenant must outlast the weather, or it was never a covenant. It was a momentary mood. Part of this integrity is this very strange instruction. Give up gratitude for healings, for increased supply, for any form of good that appears and disappears. I did not say become ungrateful. I said move your gratitude to God alone. Be grateful for God, for the felt presence, for the inner hush that does not depend on Saturdays or statements. For my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Why? Because as long as your gratitude hooks itself to outcomes, fear holds your line and can reel you back any time it pleases. It says, I will threaten the thing you love, and you will dance. But when your gratitude is Godward, when your love is fixed on presence as end and not as means, fear has nothing to bargain with. The prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in me, nothing, no handle to grip, no thread to pull, no debt to collect. Integrity severs fear's contract. There is nothing to trade, therefore there is nothing to threaten. You may protest, isn't that unhuman? No, it is profoundly human and more. It is sanity. You were never safe because a report was favorable. You were safe because God is God. You were never supplied because a check cleared. You were supplied because man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. The check was the form. The word was the life. Transfer your thanks from the form to the life, and you will find a thankfulness that survives every season. Then, if a healing appears, you smile, not because at last God came, but because God's atmosphere was realized and shadows behaved as shadows do in sunlight. And if no healing appears, your smile is not punished. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed, not swayed. I will tell you a small, homely way this works. A student said, I will keep the covenant, and kept it until the third day when a number doubled. The heart began its old drum. In the old bargain, she would have said, so much for presents, and run to secure a promise. Instead, she sat 10 minutes. Quiet came, not perfection, but quiet. From that quiet, simple wisdom, drink water, cancel a taxing errand, make one call, then rest. She did these not as talismans, as obedience to peace. The next day, the number fell, but mark this, she had already won before any fall because fear had not made her sell her covenant. That is the freedom we are after. Results stop ruling the heart. The heart rules the results or leaves them from God. So I ask you, gently but without wiggle room, will you drop the bargain? Will you say and mean, I am not trying to get well, I am seeking God, and keep meaning it when the appearance argues? Will you give up gratitude for the shifting gifts in favor of gratitude for the giver who does not shift? If you will notice a calm authority entering your speech, a lack of hurry in your hands, a softening of the eyes that is not naivete but knowledge, because you will have learned to live from presence as your native air. Be still and know that I am God. Not be still and get what you want. Be still and know. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Make that your covenant. Keep it under pressure, and you will find that integrity itself is a climate in which fear cannot breathe. Now let us do the one thing we have to do. Not talk about it, not outline it, not improve it, do it. We will take a minute, perhaps two, and enter the atmosphere where fear cannot breathe. Sit as you are, or adjust yourself just enough to let the body be at ease. Unclench the mind the way you would unclench a hand gently. We are not trying to get well. Hear that very plainly. We are not trying to change a condition or obtain a sign. We are opening to presence. One demonstration only. Be still and know that I am God. That is not a moral. It is an instruction. Do not let your concern be for health. Let your concern be to feel, however quiet, that surging of spirit, the change of air by which you know I. Now, give yourself a simple cue, not as a charm, not to make God happen, but to let your awareness down from the head to the heart. On the inhale, whisper inwardly, I live. On the exhale, yet not I. Again, a gentle breath. I live, yet not I. Do not strain the breath. Let it be as it is, unlabored. You are agreeing with what is already true. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Feel how that phrase loosens the tight mark of the personal and widens you into an I that does not have edges. You are not manufacturing a feeling. You are remembering a fact. As the breathing softens, let the attention fall back a half step, like a witness taking his seat at the back of the theater. Allow the sentence to arise quietly, as you would speak to a dear child. This is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. Let it clarify without argument. Sensations appear on the screen. You are the light in which they appear. Numbers and names come and go. You are the awareness that beholds them. The violin may need tuning. You are the music. The window may rattle in a gust. You are the air that is not disturbed by pains. The life is more than meat. You are not the picture. You are the seeing of it. Now, ever so lightly, place the password as a feather upon still water, not to make water still, but to notice that it already is. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Do not command the mind to accept it. Do not issue orders to the body. Say it and rest. Say it and wait. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Dwell for this minute. Just dwell. We are not going to try to do anything to it, to any of it. We are consenting to be where God is, which is here. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let that peace, if it will, announce itself as a softening behind the eyes, a widening in the chest, a little more room around the thought of yourself. If it does not, do not chase it. We are not after a sensation. We are in recognition. And if a feeling rises, let it rise. If no feeling rises, let that be. Non-interference is faith. Do you see? We are trusting that reality is itself, with or without your thermometer of mood. The sun is not more sun because you feel its warmth. The sun is itself. So, do not lean forward into the minute to get something from it. Lean back into it to consent to what is already so. Perfect love does not have to cast out fear by wrestling. It casts out fear as light casts out a shadow by being what it is. Fear in you is like a fish that has mistaken air for water. In this atmosphere, it cannot breathe. Do not fight the fish. Simply remain in air. If a thought breaks in, but what about? What if? How long? Smile at it once and let it pass. The mind is a faithful secretary. It takes notes even in church. You are not the secretary. Turn again to the breath. Quiet now. I live, yet not I. Turn again to the witness. This is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. And then, again, the password. Simple, obedient, sufficient. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed for a minute is still a staying. And in that minute, a climate changes. Notice how the urge to manage subsides by itself, the way a tide turns without taking counsel of your clock. Notice, perhaps, that what pressed a moment ago is 1 degree less immediate, or notice nothing and still trust. A minute of true presence alters the climate of fear more than hours of managing symptoms. Why? Because hours of managing remain within the hypnotism that the body name is you and the symptom is law, while a minute of presence lives outside the spell altogether. It is not that you have become powerful. It is that you have returned to the power that is, and in that atmosphere, the counterfeit cannot hold its shape. As 2 times 2 equals 5 cannot stand 2 seconds in a room where truth is recognized. So the compulsions that drove your fingers to search and your thoughts to circle cannot stand before a quiet that is not manufactured but given. If in this stillness a line of scripture arises, let it be simple and alive, not memorized like a fence, but received like bread. Be still, and know that I am God. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Or the question that ends the serpent's case before it begins. Who said that thou wast naked? The point is not to drown the mind with verses. The point is to let one word open the door, and then to sit in the room it opens, not pacing in the hallway reciting addresses. Now, do not prolong the minute because you are afraid to leave it, and do not shorten it because you are eager to get on. When the sense comes that the breath has found its rhythm, when the witness feeling is clear enough that the name I is sweet and unlabored, when the sentence has been spoken and has set like dew on the grass, then simply remain one more beat in gratitude, not for results, give that up, but for God. Gratitude for God, as God. Then rise slowly, not ceremonially, naturally. Carry the quiet like a scent on your coat. Do not analyze it. The mind will try to pin it to a cause and thus drag it back into the little courtroom where clocks and reports are judge and jury. Refuse the trial. Refuse the transcript. Walk on. You will answer the telephone, perhaps. You will wash a dish, tend to an email, tend to the instrument if wisdom nudges you to do so. But do it as one who has breathed the air where fear cannot live. In it, but not of it. Let the password ride lightly at the edge of your awareness, ready when the old reflex reaches. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Not to ward off a blow as if fear were a power, but to keep you in the atmosphere in which only God is power. And if 5 minutes from now the air grows thin again, do not scold yourself. Sit down inside yourself again and repeat the minute. 3 such minutes in a day will outwork more freedom than 3 hours of anxious labor. This is the simplicity of our way. We are not trying to do anything to it. We are consenting to presence until presence practices us. My peace I give unto you. Take it quietly and go on. Now we must bring this down to the pavement where the shoe meets the street, because you and I are not living in monasteries. We have wrists that buzz with numbers, screens that shout, schedules that promise answers in 5 to 7 days, and headlines that rehearse calamity until the nerves learn the tune. What then? The rule is not new, but it must be kept under pressure. Attend to God first. Then whatever you do from liberty instead of from fear. In practice, that means triage of attention. Before the call, before the click, before the test stop. Sit if you can. Close your eyes if you may. If not, turn within while standing in a hallway. Whisper the password, not to get anything, but to come home. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Wait for the air to change. If it takes a minute, give a minute. If it takes 5, give 5. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, stayed long enough that the old reflex loosens its grip and the invisible eye takes its seat. When discomfort spikes, do not pretend it is not speaking. Do not bully yourself into silence. Acknowledge the sensation as you would a messenger at the door. I hear you. Then relocate your identity. Quietly, faithfully, say within, this is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. Feel the chair of the witness under you. Take it. You are not the drum. You are the listener to whom the drum reports. From that seat, the same sensation is no longer a verdict. It is weather passing through the instrument. You may still choose to rest, to drink water, to call a friend, to step outside for fresh air. But you will not worship the report. The life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment. The I is more than the fluctuation. The body is an instrument, precious, yes, but not I. And then this is important. Speak the password into that moment, not as a charm to flatten the curve, but as a declaration of where you stand. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty to be ungripped, even while a sensation dances. Liberty to choose a sane step without being driven. Liberty to do nothing for a minute without guilt. You are not getting free. You are standing in the freedom that already is when spirit is realized. Now to the machines, the portals, the scans, and the headlines. Behind much of what troubles the world is mass hypnotism repetition that paints pictures on the screen of thought until they seem like law. In a former day, it was the propaganda office. In our day, it is the feed that never sleeps. You are not required to breathe that air. Choose the atmosphere you will live in. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Set a watch on your eyes and ears. If you must look at a report, look from the secret place. Begin with 2 minutes of quiet. End with 1. If you must be informed, decide the hour you will read and the source you will trust. Do not graze all day in the field where fear fattens itself. Turn off the little red badges that tug the sleeve. Refuse push alerts that push your peace. Do not rehearse fear stories. Rehearsal is worship. And you will find when the inner air is kept clean, you can glance at a headline and not bow to it. You can read a lab note and not hand it your throne. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Renewing is atmosphere work. There will be days when you are scheduled to enter the great white room where a machine hums and strangers move with practiced kindness. Enter as I. If you must sign, sign as I. If you must lie still as I. We are not going to try to do anything to it. All we are going to do is bring the realization of God's presence into the very space where fear imagines it is Lord. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty in a waiting room as surely as in a chapel. While you wait, bless silently. Father, thy presence fills this room, these hands, this instrument. My life is hid with Christ in God. You are not there to bargain. You are there to be. And from being, wisdom acts when action is given. If it is shown to take a pill, take it. If it is shown to consult, consult. If it is shown to walk outside and breathe, breathe. You can be in it, but not of it. The difference is not in the outer act, but in the climate from which it is done. The same step taken from fear binds. The same step taken from God frees. And when the screen flashes late at night or early at dawn, ask this single question before you touch it. From where am I moving, fear or God? If it is fear, do not scold yourself. Simply sit down inside, even for 60 seconds, and let the inner hush find you. Then proceed or not. I would rather you wait 1 minute with God and then call wisely than call 10 times as a beggar to the arm of flesh. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. Remember first, then use the chariot if you must. Tools are not tyrants when you are free. Let me say a word about conversation, because media is not only pixels, it is also mouths. Refuse to make fear the fellowship of your table. If a friend loves to rehearse diseases as if they were deities, love the friend and change the subject. Smile and say, I would rather talk about the peace that passes understanding and mean it. Not piously, practically. Atmosphere is contagious. So is peace. Choose whom you let speak into your weather. And when you must sit where worry is thick, become transparent. How? By not answering to the name fear calls. It calls body, vulnerable, owned, and you answer only I. The message hits you as glass, not a sponge. The prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in me, nothing to stick to, nothing to stir. All of this amounts to a way of walking through the same streets as yesterday with a different sky over your head. Attend to God first, then call, click, test, read, eat, rest from liberty. In time, and sometimes in a day, you will notice that symptoms still come and go. Scans are still written in human language. Headlines still try their tricks. But the center does not move. The knot that once formed in the stomach does not find its usual chair. You remain, the I, invisible, at peace. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. And in the cover of that wing, you will do what needs doing, and you will leave undone what can be left. And either way, you will have kept the covenant. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Keep that as your first act, and the rest, whatever it is, will no longer own you. You will be in it, but not of it. Present without bowing, human without being hypnotized, and most of all, quietly free. Now, let us set a small, clear map before us, because some of you are wondering, where am I in this? There are stages to this surrender, and seeing them saves you from despairing in the middle or mistaking the middle for the end. The first stage we come to, I call metaphysical denial. Do not despise it. It is the beginner's rope across a rushing stream. We discover that behind so much of human suffering is hypnotism, mass suggestion, fear naming the body me, money naming itself law, and we begin to answer back. We deny reality to disease. We deny power to lack. We refuse to accept 2 times 2 equals 5 inches any form. And often things improve. Why? Because you have stopped agreeing with the lie. You have taken the toy away from the child that was teasing you with it. But notice this, the mind is still on the condition. You are still staring at the picture. Only now you say, you are not there. That is better than bowing before it. But the gaze has not yet lifted. At night, the eyes still open to see whether the denial worked. This is help, not freedom. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And in this first stage, spirit is still largely a tool to get liberty for a particular thing. Now we cross to a second stage, and here the air gets cleaner, but the bargain grows subtler. I call it the mental life. You have learned to think well. You cultivate serenity. You prune worry. You choose better words. You surround yourself with elevating influences. You have, in a sense, repapered the room. Good. It is certainly kinder to live with beauty than with ugliness. And in this stage, there come many evidences. The body behaves more cheerfully. The budget breathes. Friends remark on the light in your face. But if you are very honest, you will see that the center is still the same. You are, at root, maintaining a personal peace by careful thought and curation. You have found a more refined arm of flesh. Gratitude is still for outcomes, and fear still whispers, guard this, you could lose it. It is the tree of knowledge with sweeter fruit. And at 3 a.m, You can still feel the old drum if a number on a screen stutters. We are grateful for this stage. It civilizes the outer man, but it is not yet the death of material sense. It is the improvement of material sense. We are still in the room, even with new wallpaper. The third stage is where the room is not simply repapered. We step out into another house. This is surrender. This is the place where the teaching that sounded poetic becomes steel. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Not as the world do you see. Not by safe reports, not by full cupboards, not by smooth scans, not by applause, not as the world giveth. Here we face the death of material reliance, which is not physical death. It is the end of treating the world's forms as our source and our law. No man can serve two masters. We do not consult spirit for a worldly peace. We release worldly peace for God's peace, period, and we do not look back. Remember Lot's wife. If you turn to take one last affectionate glance at the city of your former assurances, you turn yourself into a salt image of what you used to be, preserved in fear. What does this look like? It looks like hearing the Master's sentence as if addressed to you today. Leave your nets and follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Nets are not only boats and ropes. Nets are our familiar dependencies, our private treaties with life. If I can have this much in reserve, if that person approves, if the chart says, leave your nets, at this stage you do not bargain. You do not say, I will follow until my number rises, and then I will reconsider. You say, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And you mean it when your senses are kind, and you mean it when they are unkind. You mean it when the body is quiet, and you mean it when it is noisy. You mean it when the climate of the news is calm, and you mean it when the headlines dance. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. And above, we have said, is the dimension of spirit within you, the invisible eye. Here you stop using truth to control weather. You consent to presence and let God be God. And facing this death is not a single dramatic scene. It is 1,000 small obediences whereby you discover that you live quite well without the old props. A familiar sympathy is withdrawn and you do not crumble. A routine is interrupted and you do not lose your Sabbath. A doctor says we should look again and you do not sell your covenant for an hour of frantic searching. You sit, you be still, you feel the hush, and then from that hush, you do whatever you must do, in it but not of it. The miracle is not stoic grit. The fruit is availability, untroubled, tender, ready. You become usable. You find yourself free to be sent into any season, hospital room or harvest field, meeting or meadow, without first requiring that the scene meet your terms. Here am I, send me. That is not indifference to human need. It is love unhooked from fear. It is the love of Christ constraineth us, not the fear of loss driving us. In this maturity, there is a soft, steady joy that does not spike and crash with reports. You take what forms are given and you hold them lightly. You let what forms go and you do not call it robbery. Your vocabulary changes, less why, more yes. Your prayer changes, less do, more be. Your gratitude changes, not for the thing but for God. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Bread will come, bread will go, word abides. And the old net, whether it was a habit a defense, a way you bought peace, stays on the shore because you have been made a fisher of men. Your vocation is no longer the guarding of personal conditions. It is the radiance of presence wherever you are. So mark the stages, yes, but do not build a house at the first two. Let them do their work and then move on. The journey culminates when you release material peace for God's peace and you do not look back. If tomorrow you find your hand groping for an old net, smile and drop it again. Be still and know that I am God. We are not going to try to do anything to it. All we are going to do is bring the realization of God's presence. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty that walks you calm through the valley of the shadow. Liberty that keeps you sweet in a crowd. Liberty that makes you available to God in all seasons. This is maturity. Quiet, spacious, ready, and grateful always for God as God. Now let us make this simple enough to be kept on a weekday, because holiness, if it does not fit between appointments and dishes, is only theater. I am asking you for a daily rule and not a heroic one, because heroics usually burn out within a week. 3 times a day, morning, midday, evening, sit down into God. 2 minutes each will do if they are true minutes. Do not bargain with me that you haven't time. You have time to fear. You have time to be still. In the morning, before the feet touch the floor, certainly before the finger touches the phone, turn within and take your seat as I whisper, if you like. Be still and know that I am God. Then say the one sentence that orients you to reality. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. We are not going to try to do anything to the day. We are going to consent to presence. Wait quietly until you feel that little change of air, that softening that says the invisible has taken its chair. If it does not come in a sensation, do not force it. Faith is non-interference. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stay 2 minutes. Rise. Go on. At midday, when the seams of the morning begin to show, sit again. If you are in an office, close the door. If you are in a hallway, turn your chair a few degrees and let the inward door close. Repeat the password not to guard yourself against the monster as if fear were power, but to re-enter the atmosphere where only God is power. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Add the sentence that corrects the hypnotic name tag the world keeps sticking to you. This is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. Do not argue. State it and sit in it. 2 minutes. We are not after relief. We are after God. Evening. Before sleep, I would rather you miss a show than this return once more to the secret place. Let the body relax. Unclench the mind and lay your head as the psalmist. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep. For thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. These 3 small obediences will do more to re-educate consciousness than many hours of anxious metaphysics, because they are regular and they are honest. They put God first, morning, noon, and night. And pray without ceasing begins in this way, with ceasing 3 times on purpose until the ceasing continues of itself. Now, between these sittings, there is a simple craft. Keep the password at the threshold of any fear thought. Think of fear as a doorbell, not a battering ram. It rings. You decide whether to open. Do not hold a committee meeting with it on the porch. The instant you hear the ring, answer within, gently and with authority. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Do not argue cases. Do not feed pictures. Say the word and look away into God. If the ring comes again, answer again. You are not fighting. You are remembering. The mind is a faithful secretary. It will keep bringing you files. You are not the secretary. You are the I, the witness, the one in whom the filing cabinet exists and to whom it reports. The life is more than meat. Each time you return to the password, you refuse to let a picture sit on the throne. Twice a day, perhaps, in the morning sitting, and again at night, conduct what I call the integrity check, and you must let it be sharp. Say within, I am not trying to get well. I see God alone. And you have to mean it. The first week you say it, you will probably feel a little tremor because the heart hears itself. Let it tremble and say it again. Sick or well, rich or poor, clear scan or unclear scan, I am after God, period. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, not as the world hold to that. This single sentence, honestly kept, severs the contract. Fear keeps trying to get you to sign in the fine print. You will be tempted to soften it. Don't. Better 2 honest minutes that cost you a small death of pride than 20 gilded minutes of bargaining. At night, pivot the gratitude. Do not inventory the day for wins and losses as if you were balancing a merchant's book. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving for him. Give up gratitude for healings, for supplies, for compliments, for any form. Be grateful for God as God. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Let bread come, let bread go. Word abides. If you catch yourself starting to thank for the day's favorable winds, smile and step 1, layer deeper. Thank you for being thou, then sleep. That is how you close the gate on the hypnotism that would use your pillow as a pulpit. A word about your company, because practice is not only what you do when the eyes are closed, it is also the atmosphere you permit. Some will not be able to follow you into this hush. They couldn't follow me in there in 1928. Neither could I go back. Accept separations kindly. Do not argue. Do not proselytize. Do not despise. Love them, bless them, keep the door ajar, and walk without dragging. If you must sit where worry is rehearsed as entertainment, become transparent. Let speech pass through without sticking. Choose at least one companion of quiet if you can. Someone who understands that silence is not absence, but presence. We are one in Christ Jesus. When you cannot find such a one, let the Spirit be your fellowship. It is enough if you will keep this little rule. Something wonderful and very ordinary will happen. Practice becomes atmosphere. Atmosphere becomes unconscious poise. One morning you will discover that the password has arisen before the fear has cleared its throat. At noon you will feel the chair of the witness under you before you remember to sit. Decisions that used to take a committee of anxieties will be made in a line or on a walk. And they will be right not because you became clever, but because you were available. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Abide long enough and the shadow abides you. You find yourself praying without ceasing, not by effort, but by native air. If you forget a sitting, begin again at the next. Do not scold. If a week goes by and you have been noisy, begin again. The ocean does not measure your cup. Tie the practice to fixed points. If it helps waking, the midday meal, the lamp at evening, set a small bell to remind you. Then, in time, the bell will ring from within. We are not going to try to do anything to it. We are going to bring again and again. the realization of God's presence until presence practices us. 3 times a day, 1,000 days if necessary. And of a sudden, without trumpet, you will notice that fear has lost your address. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Keep that as your rule. Small obediences, honest minutes, gratitude for God. And then let the invisible eye carry you quietly into tomorrow. And now, if you listen quietly to the room within, you will begin to notice the aftertaste of liberty. And it is not a trumpet. It is a hush that does not need to announce itself. One of the first signs is that the vigilance over the body softens. The shoulders you were holding like sentries are dismissed. The little rituals of checking and rechecking, the hourly glances at numbers, the reflex of searching for reassurance, these begin to lose their command. You will still take care. You will still be sensible. But the throne is not theirs. The life is more than meat. The body takes its place as instrument, not identity. You say without drama, this is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. And the sentence is no longer a tool you force. It is the way the I in you names itself. Along with this argument with life fades. You do not litigate with the weather or the traffic or another person's tone. You feel the old lawyer rise and you smile, and he sits down again. Be still and know that I am God becomes a reflex, as natural as a blink in bright light. Then, almost before you have words for it, kindness begins to move of its own accord. You are not performing goodness to earn points with heaven. Love changes the air, and you find yourself doing simple things without inner debate. A seat is given, and you do not rehearse your virtue. A letter is written, and you do not expect a reply. You bless the harried clerk, the loud neighbor, the trembling patient beside you, not as a strategy to curry favor with God, but because the love of Christ constraineth us. Constraineth, do you see? Love itself takes the bit. You become, in a way I cannot improve upon with language, available. And in that availability, there is a courage that is not hard. It is soft and sure, and it does not have to prove itself by speeches. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. You are surprised to discover that the peace is not held up by your performance. You are being held. Another sign is the release of spectacle. I do not mean that you turn dour or refuse a good laugh. I mean that the world's entertainments lose their demand on you. The appetite to be constantly elsewhere, to be flooded with light and sound, to keep from feeling the quiet, eases. This was my own experience long ago, and I have watched it repeat in countless hearts. The theater may still be gracious, a song still lovely, a film still skillful, but the compulsion is gone. You can take it or leave it. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. And as the word becomes your food, deeper joys appear that have no cause you can trace. A morning stillness that rests you more than a vacation brochure. A scripture that drops like a feather and yet lifts a stone. The sight of a bird crossing a yard and for no good reason at all. Tears, good tears rise. Joy unspeakable and full of glory, the apostle called it. You are not riding a roller coaster. You are walking in a garden at dawn. Now, do not imagine that fear packs its bags and changes its address without one more knock. It will try its final bluff. It will come, perhaps at an old hour, with an old tone, sending its familiar envelope stamped urgent. What then? First, remember that a bluff is not a force. It is a voice. Meet it from the invisible, or do not meet it at all. Sometimes the finest reply is no reply. Let the letter sit on the table of thought unopened, and let presence read it if it needs reading. The prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in me. Nothing in me. That is the key. If an answer is required, answer as I. This is not me. This is my body. I am invisible. Or answer with the password, not as a weapon swung wildly, but as a quiet showing of your passport at the gate. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Or answer with the Master's steadiness, thou couldst have no power at all against me except it were given thee from above. Above is not a place in the sky. It is the dimension of spirit in which you dwell when you are not answering to the name fear calls. In other words, stand in the room where the shadow cannot frighten because the light is on. You are not pushing the darkness away. You are abiding where it cannot live. This is the hour to seal the covenant you have been circling. Presence first, outcome second. And if you are tempted to nod and let the sentence pass like a slogan, stop and take it in. Presence first, outcome second. Gratitude for God alone. When you say, I'm not trying to get well, you must mean it. When you whisper, sick or well, rich or poor, applauded or ignored, I am for God, you must not add, even inwardly, and I hope that buys me a smoother road. No man can serve two masters. Choose. The astonishing discovery on the far side of that choice is that you do not become careless. You become trustworthy. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Abide, not visit, not sneak a minute and then rush out to see if it worked. Abide. Let your rule of three become the way your day breathes until, as we have said, presence practices you. And let your gratitude be trained. Give up gratitude for the thing. Receive gratitude for God. In that purity, outcomes come and go without climbing onto your throne. What remains is a commissioning so simple that the mind thinks it cannot be enough. Walk on. Carry the password lightly, as one carries a key, not rattled to impress the street, but ready for the door that is yours to open. If a report calls your name, first be still, then answer or do not, as wisdom directs. If a friend weeps, be there. Do not hurry past your hush to fix him. Bring him into it by your being. You can be in it, but not of it. Let this be said over you as you go. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. And hear, as if now, the voice on the water. Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid. Quiet courage is the fragrance you will leave in rooms you enter and leave. The joy of being invisible is that you are no longer busy polishing an image. You are free to radiate a presence whose origin is not your striving. Life becomes, what shall we call it, usable, and you are sent, not driven. So, we complete not with a shout, but with a word you can put in your pocket and not lose. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Keep it as your password. Let it keep you as its witness. And walk on.